February 5th is when I took my daughter over to my mom's and signed power of attorney to my mom, Madison, and so she could take care of my daughter so I could take care of my older daughter. And then I had a court date March 12th, 2019, and they said that I had to have my mom go and take her to the CPS building that was in her county, which would be Roosevelt County, which is in Wolf Point. So I told my mom that she had to, like, go just because I don't break the rules or break the law, so I was just complying. And then my mom took Madison to BIA, me, my mom, and my dad, and they took her, CPS took her from the Bureau of Indian Affairs. But I thought because Madison was Native, she's Cherokee, and that they would help me save my child. But they just gave her over to CPS. So this is my mom.
And from when we first got there on the 13th of March, right?
Yep.
We were all met up at the BIA building. And I had gotten in the car with Lindsay. We had been discussing the meeting place and everything with CPS, and Tim Hansen was the one that would keep calling us on the
Yeah, I was just watching her.
keep calling us on his phone because it was taking us a long time to get to Poplar. Well, I kept putting him off. I kept putting him off because I wanted Lindsay there, and she had a 500-mile trip there. So we kept putting him off. According to the ladies in CPS ladies in Wolf Point, there was a Amber Alert.
Which there never was one.
No, but that's what they've got in their records, and they have said there was an Amber Alert, and that's why I would probably never ever be able to take care of the baby or have the baby there because of the fact that there was an Amber Alert according to the ladies there at CPS in Wolf
Of
Point.
Madison?
Of Madison, yeah.
Of Madison.
That's a bullshit lie.
Yep. Well, it's all been nothing but lies.
All the time. Yeah.
I mean, from the very first time that Tim Hansen met with us, well, I never even met him forever, but the very first time that he tried to meet with us was March 6th. On court, he tried to tell the court system that my mom and me, he was trying to get a hold of us for weeks upon weeks upon weeks. And the very first initial meeting him, I mean, I didn't even meet him, I just seen him in court, and he was testifying that he's been trying to get a hold of my mom and me for weeks and weeks, and the very first time he ever talked to us was March 6th, and that was March 12th was that court date. So that's 6 days. That's not even a week.
And there were no phone calls from
Tim Hansen.
anyone from CPS until...
Well, Mary Fortune Blair, when she called me February 14th and left a message, and I have all these documented, I have them all saved, and she requested a copy of the power of attorney. So February 15th, I sent her a copy of the power of attorney that I signed up or over to my mother to take care of Madison. And she calls me instantaneously after in a snooty voice, and she's like, well, since you're not going to work with us, I'm going to have to file for Madison. And I probably just sounded exactly like her because I'm just snooty. And yeah, Mary Fortune Blair told my 15-year-old daughter to stay with her boyfriend until further notice. January 12th, 2019. Didn't try to call me until the 24th, and I didn't talk to her until the 6th of February. And that was after Destiny turned over that non-narcotic substance the cops tested in my home February 4th, and non-narcotic. But then the 5th, I put my child Madison in the care of my mother to protect her from the negativity, because that's what parents do, is they, put their children in proper place, so she wouldn't get the backlash of all the negative stuff that was happening. Well, that's what I was trying to do, anyways. I mean, I failed. I mean, I didn't fail.
You didn't fail. They failed.
Yeah.
When we pulled into the parking lot at BIA, I don't know if this woman was CPS or not. She came over and grabbed, I can't remember if it was your hand or the baby's hand, and walked you straight into the BIA building, which left my husband and I, Grandma and Grandpa, outside waiting for, so we went inside and sat inside the building, and nobody ever came and told us anything, or we didn't get to say goodbye to the baby. They just took her.
Well, some guy comes and he's all like this, some big native guy, you know, huge, intimidating as heck. And he's like, okay, well, I'm here to just take Madison. I'm like, what am I gonna do? What could I have done? Like, nothing. I'm not trying to cause a scene in front of my daughter. So I calmly, you know, like, that thing hurt, like, but I calmly just, like, told her that Mommy's gonna see you later.
Be good. And
Yeah.
I never saw her until visitation started up. After that March 13th thing, we went to, the night of March 13th, we went to my husband and I's house, and we, Lindsay and I talked about it, and we got in the car.
I know, honey. Get a paper towel, please.
We got in the car, and we started towards Helena on the morning of the 14th, or was it the 15th? 15th. The 14th.
Yeah, we
because
left
the 15th is when you signed up for your own.
I signed up for drug testing on my own free will because that's what they were accusing me of, and I didn't use drugs. There's nothing worse than somebody telling you are something that you're not, and it sucks.
Yeah.
Thank you, love.
So basically, she was falsely imprisoned for 19 days over Christmas, and now we have validating proof. Could you get a piece of paper, please, that shows the fact that they signed a statement saying you were falsely imprisoned, willingly, without force, and now you got to go to court in 2 days.
Yep.
To try to fight for something that you shouldn't be fighting for in the first place.
No.
I hear cop sirens, and that shit scares
Yeah.
me. I'm like, oh my god, they're coming.
The last page, right there. Let me see that. Right here. On this piece of paper, it states about the visits and stuff like that, doing good with Madison. Right here, it states, Mom, been falsely incarcerated. And they all signed the paper agreeing to it. And yet she's still going to court and still does not have her child back. Explain to me what's wrong with this picture.
Also on that page, it makes note of they think the child should be adopted.
Yeah.
Even after saying all that stuff that she
Done everything they asked.
involuntarily in jail and everything, they're still sitting there saying that the baby needs to be adopted out.
And yet she's done nothing wrong but everything they've asked her to do. And yet, this past week, in front of me and in front of Lindsay, they tried to say the only reason why she can't have her daughter back is because of a negative drug test. And yet the paper is right there in front of them that they have a copy of that states...
That's my cease and desist
Oh,
for Annie Myers.
That states that the drug test was false. Yeah, the paper states that they signed and willingly admitted to. And so she also has a cease and desist against Annie Meyer, the
Which
one
she
who
received.
is...
She received on February 14th because I sent it certified, so I know she got it. So she has to sign it. If she doesn't,
Sign for it.
well then, should I act or behave in such a manner that would result in a breach of this agreement? Miss Lindsay Ray Hoyt shall be entitled to filing fees, court costs, and attorney fees in any action which will be filed in an effort to ensure this agreement. In addition to relief and or money damages, Miss Lindsay Ray Hoyt may have entitled to this never been signed. So if she doesn't sign it and she says anything, now I can just take her to court.
So your next court date that they're still trying to push more lies on.
The 20th of this month in 2 days at 9 o'clock in the morning at Judge Reynolds.
So if you want to see reality struck in the face of the judge and the CPS and everyone involved, show up and show your support. This has gone out of hand, and we need to put a stop to this. This is not okay. They get away with too much of breaking the constitutional rights of everyone.
Yeah, no kidding.
And we called it out to them in court, and they still mock us.
Without due process. It's
Yeah,
like
no
the
due process.
worst.
You don't get a due process there.
Exactly.
I
And then
watched them. We even stayed. I said, "Where's my
I
due
was
process?"
up there with you. I mean,
I know.
when we went to Sammy's thing,
Yeah,
me, you, Rodney, my mom, and Matt.
yeah.
All got
Everyone was
kicked
there. We
out.
all saw it.
Yeah.
They all.
Oh, and Debbie. Debbie was
yeah,
there
Debbie
too.
was there too, and Matt saw them.
Yeah.
Talking in the room before the court.
Yep.
So
When I had court the 7th of this of January, when I was in Orange,
for being falsely imprisoned.
right? But so they dragged me up there, and I see Amby Pierner in there. She is not the county attorney for this thing. She is the county attorney for my falsified felonies. So why is she in my DN case? Because that's the reason I was put in jail, because Annie Myers, breach of HIPAA law, gave it to Amby Pierner. There is no reason for, you cannot just give my medical records to anybody.
She should go in the first place.
Exactly. Because, I mean, that right there is a HIPAA law. And then the fact that December 18th, Officer Zapata comes and proceeds to tell me at my home, and he's a hell of a cop, and I live out in the valley, and comes to my home and tells me that I tested positive for methamphetamines. No, I didn't. Well, I didn't test till the next day. And that had methamphetamines in it.
Wow.
Yeah, and those are insane amounts. Like, they were like 4,100.
And I told them last week to their face, if your daughter had that much methamphetamines in her hair follicle test, she would have to have medical records.
Yep.
And for poison control and everything.
Well, hers
Especially
were,
that.
I think it was 1,500 or 1,580.
Milligrams of methamphetamines in her hair.
Yeah.
Yeah. She would have to have some kind of medical record showing poison control. That is insane for a, how old was she?
2.5.
Yeah, you know.
Exactly.
Not possible.
No. And I mean, I've told him several times I want a DNA test because I don't believe it's her hair. Because the lady that testified under oath, she works for Drug Information Systems. I was testing there. So 3 days after the hearing, I had to test. So I go there and show her a picture of Madison. She's like, I don't recall her. I'm like, you just testified that you took her hair. What the? And then 2 weeks after that, her coworker comes at me and tells me that she was the one that took Madison's hair.
But she wasn't the one that testified in
Nope.
court.
And they didn't get permission to take her hair in the first place. How many laws have they broken so far? I lost count.
Do what?
How many laws have they broken so far?
Dude, I don't think I can count that high. I mean,
So anyways,
oh.
the date and time I think will be atop the post on Facebook and here. But when is it again?
9 o'clock, Thursday, the 20th, February.
Judge.
Judge Reynolds.
Yep.
Yep.
One of the fake ones.
Oh, he's the one that brought treatment court to the state of Montana. That's why he is doing what he's doing.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
How is it he can be so double standard, say one thing, but yet falsely accuse other people of the same thing he supposedly is standing for?
Yeah, and he's had 3 cases on me in this last year. Once for my trailer park, once for my falsified felony, the very first one, and then my DN case, which is my kids. If you have one thing with somebody, you're supposed to pass it on to another judge if you have another altercation come up. You know?
Yeah. Because that right there is
Biased.
synchronous. Yeah, it's all set up.
Exactly.
Illegal.
All right.
Agree.
You want to know more? Let us know.